Hey guys,
Hi.
welcome back.
Hello.
This week we're going to talk about some updates that happened to Overwatch. We haven't been playing it too frequently, but Season 11 just started for competitive, and we just wanted to kind of touch upon what we thought of some of the additions.
It's been interesting because we haven't played it in a while, so coming back into it with all these new updates has been pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like some of the direction that the game is heading in.
For sure. I think Jeff Kaplan has definitely listened to what people have been saying, and it's definitely showing with some of the changes that they've made to the game.
Yeah, there's definitely a positive vibe. I can feel it.
Yeah. So where should we start?
Why don't we start with what happened to your main?
Yeah. Um, as much as I like some of the changes, Symmetra was definitely my main, and I don't think she's going to be my main anymore after some of the changes. Why don't you go through them and I will make commentary about how I feel about them.
Okay. So one big change is her primary fire. It no longer locks on to enemies. It's more like a straight shot, kind of like Zarya. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to land those shots.
Yeah. This part I don't mind as much as some of the other changes. It's definitely different. But I think it's probably a good change just because you don't want all the characters to be overpowered, and it'll give you a little bit more skill boost, I guess.
So another change with Symmetra is the way her sentries work. She used to have 6, now she's down to 3. And with this change, the sentries gain a little boost in damage output, and they also gain the flexibility of becoming projectiles, so she can kind of throw them across the map.
Yeah, this one I don't mind either. It was nice having 6 just because you kind of could surround an area, and I used to have very specific places I would like to place them, so now you have to be a little bit more strategic with where you're putting the turrets. But the benefit is that they do have that power boost, and you also just are able to shoot them to different areas and probably reach places that you couldn't do before, which is really nice. And you can kind of use them as you're playing instead of just kind of placing them and having them in like a stationary location. I think the cooldown on them is a little bit different than it used to be. I'd have to double check on that, but you can kind of move them as you need, which is nice too.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to mention as well about them is if you're playing against Symmetra and she shoots them in your direction, you can definitely, there's like an audio cue that they're flying by you. And then it also takes a couple seconds for them to actually set up before they do damage. So if you pay attention, you can actually take those out before they even start damaging any of your teammates or yourself.
I think you were saying you can actually shoot them out of the air, right?
Oh, yeah. You can actually shoot them out of the air. I did that yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of balances out like being attacked by those, because sometimes like with which was kind of nice as a Symmetra main, but if you're playing against her and she's got her turrets set up really strategically, you basically walk and you're dead. Like you can't even like battle against it, so this gives you a little bit of an option of trying to take her down.
Next change is her teleporter. It is no longer an ultimate choice. It is now a main ability. And with this change comes a little bit of fine tuning to how the teleporter works. She can only place it a short distance away from herself now. If I had to estimate, maybe 15, 20 meters away from her, basically wherever she can still see on screen is where it's going to be placed.
Yeah, this one I don't like very much just because I kind of had my placements and my timing of where I was placing my teleporters and when I was placing my teleporters down to a science, and I'm going to have to rethink how I'm playing a lot of the maps, and probably will not be using Symmetra just because it kind of defeats the purpose if I can't use the teleporter the way that I was using them. It is kind of nice because you can kind of teleport back and forth. So you can kind of jump back, forward with it. It's very similar, I think, to Sombra's
Her translocator.
Yeah, the translocator, which I guess isn't terrible, but just the way that I used to use the teleporter, it's just not going to work anymore. I probably just have to kind of play it a little bit more and come up with new strategies, but that one I'm kind of not happy about, but it is what it is.
Yeah, there would be a lot of times where it would be like something that would clutch like a point for us or clutch even the game because that teleporter could just get our team right back on point to either defend or to attack.
And I'd have like specific spots where I would hide them. I knew that that spot would work, and then everybody knew like, okay, something happens, we all just jump right back in and we're right where we need to be. So it's going to be a little bit more challenging to do that.
Yeah, I'll definitely miss that aspect because it's just a fun rush. It's like just hopping right back in.
And it's like, and we're back.
Yeah. It just gets that like adrenaline pumping.
So this is definitely a game changer for me.
With that, her alt is now a barrier, and this barrier spans the full map, and it has about 5,000 HP. So this prevents a lot of damage from affecting your team. So this is actually a big game changer.
Yeah. The alt I think is pretty cool. I do like it. But honestly, I still would prefer that it was the teleporter as the alt instead of the shield. One of the other things with having this as your ultimate is she no longer has her own like little mini shield. So she was squishy to begin with, but now she's super squishy. Like she really has no way to deflect anything coming at her other than running and hoping somebody's healing her. So that is kind of not a thing that I like. If she at least had like her little mini shields back, I think I would be more okay with it. But I feel like they just kind of took that away and used the alt as like a compensation for that. And I don't think it really works, especially if you're kind of off by yourself. You don't really have any way to protect yourself. So that's going to be kind of something I have to work on and tweak with how I play her now as well.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time to figure out like how to play her differently now.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about?
Well, we haven't played for a while, and we did play for a couple hours last night after all the changes. I did some training and stuff, like playing around with the new abilities, but then once I started playing like games, I really didn't favorite her anymore, and I just started playing other characters, so I really feel like this is going to change me playing her as my main.
So speaking of mains, who's your main now?
I like Orisa. I've played a lot of Orisa before anyway, so I don't know. She's kind of like she was always like my secondary character, so she's kind of moved into first place now.
It's always good to have a character that you're familiar with that's not your main.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you never know who's gonna get the rework next. I mean, my main was Hanzo for a little bit. I know there's a lot of people that hate Hanzo, but before the update, like I played him a lot, and I was just pretty decent at him. But after the rework, I just feel like I just haven't played him as much. Like, I mean, the only thing that really changed was like that scatter arrow, and I was like, I don't know.
It just changes the feel of the character. It's kind of like it's a whole different character.
Yeah, it kind of loses that whole like familiarity.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean with Symmetra, there were a few maps where I used her totally differently, and I didn't like what map is that? Hanamura. I would always use her on defense, but not on offense. And then I did use her on offense, and we just like annihilated the other team. It was like really nice. Like that was like really fast. Like we capped the points like super quickly. And I used her in a totally different way than I normally would have. So maybe just kind of figuring out new ways to play the character. Will maybe make her my main again, but right now I'm kind of like, meh.
Just need a break.
Yeah, I need a break.
Time to digest those changes.
Yeah. So I'm still going to use her. I just will use her less frequently, I guess.
All right, so that's kind of the updates with the characters. There is a new character on the horizon. The PC already has it, and it's Hammond.
Yeah. It looks fun.
It's a hamster and a ball.
So cute.
So we'll have to wait for that a little bit longer. It's not quite here on Xbox, but we saw some gameplay and it looks quite fun. A lot of people are doing Hammond racing, so they race around the map.
Oh, that's funny.
So the other big change with this latest update that we've played is endorsements.
Yeah, I think this is a really, really good change. I think a lot of the focus of like the Overwatch team has been to try to make it a really positive community and get rid of the toxic environment of gaming, and I think this is definitely a great step in that direction.
I agree. It really kind of makes you want to like reach out and share some love with the fellow community.
Yeah. Do you want to go over some of the technical points about it?
Sure. So with endorsements, you're able to get 3 per match. You can only endorse the same person once every 24 hours. If you're playing with a group of friends, you cannot endorse them. And then every endorsement you give, you get 50 XP.
So I think the cool thing is when we were playing last night, I didn't know anything about the endorsements until we actually started playing, and I was like, oh, what is this? I had no idea about the XP, but I just thought it was super cool that you could just endorse other people, and it just makes you feel kind of tighter as a team, because then you're like, oh, hey, I'm giving this person props, and hey, they're giving me props because of this play that I made or whatever. And it's not just based off of like the skill and the technical things that you get for like those cards at the end. This is just, you saw somebody like helping out the team and you're able to be like, hey, good job. So I was giving them out freely without even realizing that there was like an XP like reward for them. I had no idea until we started talking about it today. So I think it'll just be a really nice change and kind of shift the environment. And sometimes like it can be frustrating when you're playing with people that you don't know and they're not playing in the style that you're used to or not doing what you think they should be doing. So this is kind of a way to kind of smooth all that out, I think.
Yeah, it definitely promotes, working together as a team. And I think the only thing I would change about it would be I don't think they need to even have like the XP reward.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think that's a necessary thing. And the only other thing is I wish that down the road they kind of have more of a breakdown of like where these endorsements are being spanned, because they kind of have like that little circle with a chart. But it'd be nice to have like a panel like in your like profile where it shows like you've received this many of whatever endorsement or this many of the other one and this many.
Because there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
What are they again?
So the sportsmanship endorsement would be given to a player that's promoting positivity, is respectful to the team, and also showing really good behavior for everybody. The good teammate would be somebody that's helpful. They would be showing really good communication, either via, prompts in game or over the mic. They would be excelling at the role they chose. And then, it'd be also somebody that kind of switches off a character that's not really working and filling a role on the team that nobody else is really kind of making a choice to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final one is shot caller. So this is the player that's kind of the leader of the group, kind of offering ideas on, how to take the point, trying different strategies. Again, it could be like over mic communication or just via in-game, So definitely someone that excels at communication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool because it's interesting too to see like what people recognize in you like when you're playing. Like there was a couple times like last night where I was getting like the shot caller and I was like, for real? And I was like, okay, cool. But like it's just kind of interesting to see like how other people on your team perceive what you're doing. And like say you're playing a game and like I think down the line this will become more prevalent, but like you go through and you play a game and you don't get any endorsements, then you're like, hey, what did I do wrong? Like, was I not like being a good team player during this match or something? It'll make you kind of second guess like how you played the game and how well like you're communicating with the team and stuff like that. So I think that's a nice thing as well.
Yeah, and I also noticed with the endorsements, when you go to endorse a player, it shows which characters they've played and how much time too. So that really helps narrow down to like, which endorsement should go to which player. Because if you see that they kind of switch roles a lot, it's definitely a good sign.
I think it's definitely a move in the right direction. I like it.
Yeah. The other changes too, there's a group finder now. We haven't really experimented with it too much, so we don't know a whole lot about it, but we do know that it lets you pick a role that you're familiar with and kind of group up with other people that are looking to play, and then kind of the same kind of, mentality.
Yeah, I think this one's a really cool option. We don't really have to look for groups because we usually play together, and then we just kind of like group up with whoever ends up with our team. So it hasn't been an issue for us, but I know that one of the things that a lot of people in the community have struggled with is they'll have a main and they don't really, and maybe it's not a great thing, but like they don't really play other characters as much, and they're very like familiar with a certain role and comfortable with a certain role, and that's the character that they absolutely want to play. They don't want to play any other character, so this is definitely going to help that group of people that are like, hey, I just want to be a Mercy main, and I just want to play Mercy no matter what. And then they'll find a team that, hey, we all need a healer, and then they can all group up together. Or there's some people that are like, you know what, I just want to be Bastion. I just want to be a giant turret. So, especially like for the characters where like a lot of people like to play it, or Diva is like a hugely popular character. I think a lot of people like to play her. And then gets difficult when you're playing with people you don't know, and then everybody's trying to jump and grab the same character, and if you're not familiar enough with what's left, you might not do as well, or you just don't feel comfortable, or you're not having as much fun because that's not who you want to be playing. So I think this is definitely going to help those people.
I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. But it's definitely a really nice change to see in Overwatch, and I don't know what's coming up next, but they're always looking for improving like the whole community as a whole. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see what they have up their sleeve next.
Yeah. It's pretty cool because I did take a break from playing Overwatch, and we've just been playing a lot of PUBG lately. But I think like the nice thing about Overwatch is like that they're so focused on the community. And it's not just about, making the game better, but it's just the whole environment, which is really nice to see with like a gaming studio. So I look forward to the other changes that they have coming down the line.
Yeah, so that kind of wraps up what we had today for the Overwatch updates that we've kind of played through yesterday.
And now we're going to go play some Overwatch.
And then we got to go finish our placements, because I got placements to do. I have like 3 more.
3 more, I think.
3 more placements before I'm rated. That's Madison. She's freaking out. So thank you guys for watching this week and following us along for the latest updates in Overwatch.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if you would care to, follow our stream on Twitch, because we'll be playing.
I'll put a link in the comments below.
And don't forget, you don't need water to make waves.
Shh.
Bye!